if you go back and think about how you got here today, right? Intergrant is putting on this hackathon in hopes of sort of driving interest and adoption of Azure, and creatively called it Get Your Game On, in the sense that the hackathon itself is a game, but it's also centered around the idea of gaming somehow, right? So talk a little bit about the hackathon and hopefully spur your interest in participating in it here. Hackathon Guidelines, the idea of a hackathon usually is to come in and produce a solution around some platform, right? So in this case, we're talking about Azure. And we talked through sort of the family of Azure products and services out there, cloud services and storage and Azure SQL and virtual machines and all that good stuff. So in this hackathon, in order to participate, or at least in order to win, you got to learn or leverage the Azure platform. And to think about sort of how Azure would fit well in the application idea that you come up with, right? Or finding a good fit between your idea and Azure there. If you do decide to work in a team, a maximum of 5 team members, and obviously that would mean that this is all one team here if we had one team. So if you get back to work and want to pull in other people just because they're not here today does not mean they cannot participate in here, or if you need to get a group together and go for it, feel free to do so. We'll have an awards event, actually date to be determined, so the date on the screen may not be correct. Intergrant will follow up separately with a hard date for that. But you'll submit your submission or your project in person at the awards event and then be judged, right? So we'll have some judges, and I'll talk about the judging criteria coming up here. And they'll sort of look at the submissions, come up with what they felt was best based on the criteria, and choose from there. And the theme for this is gaming, right? So that could mean whatever gaming means to you. Gaming the system, I don't know. But maybe gaming in terms of I'm a gamer and I like playing games, or it could be sports, or it could be related to Xbox or whatever, whatever you think gaming means. Maybe social game, something like that. So think of it, have fun with it. Judging criteria would be the best use of the Azure cloud services. So I sort of made a point when I was out there talking about it earlier that if I were to go out now and look at creating a new application to run in the cloud, I think there's so much benefit to the platform as a service model because you gain, stateless sometimes can be difficult to write, but once you do it, it's so nice because man, you're no longer bound to the VM or to the physical computer there. And so in this case, we'd like to see leverage platform as a services, but that doesn't mean it has to be exclusive. There could be mobile services integrated with that, or websites, or VMs. Remember, in fact, I mentioned that a platform as a service cloud service could, in fact, use a VM inside it as part of the overall cloud service if you wanted to there. Other criteria will be your architecture and design's resiliency to scalability and performance. How difficult was it to implement? And what did you have to go through to get that done? The creativity within the theme, again, theme being gaming there. How well did you sort of embrace the theme and exploit it? How complete did you get? Now, with this hackathon, it's actually going to run through to the awards ceremony, but weeks long. Quite often, hackathons are 24 hours or even shorter sometimes. So you have a great opportunity to, again, get some team members together and actually put some man hours into it. But even with that said, you guys have jobs, right? So this isn't a full-time development process, and usually at a hackathon, apps aren't complete. They're a good idea or a good beginning, so it's really how far did you get in the time that you had with the resources that were available. And again, the length of this gives you a good plus there of being able to get more of that completed. And multiple device support is a plus. For me at Microsoft right now, of course, we're very interested in Windows 8 and Windows Phone 8. So tying in maybe a mobile client with that would be great to see, as well as those other vendors that make mobile phones and whoever those guys were. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, no, I mean, that's reality. I mean, that's who the customer is. So if you feel that it's worthwhile to have, an iOS app or something like that that's tying into your cloud service, more power to you. So my idea is then, again, creating maybe a social gaming app that uses Azure. to sort of gather information from the various players in the game and allow them to play sort of through the service. Social games like scavenger hunts, or we were talking about uploading photos and tagging them and trying to maybe like a geocaching type thing or something there. Focusing on sports or some other game that you're involved with, or platform games, etc. out there. So frequently asked questions on this: do I have to work on a team? No, but the more people you have, the more man hours you're going to get against your project. So that'll help you in terms of completeness. It also helps with ideas. Plus, it's fun to fight with people sometimes. So it's hard to do that by yourself. So if you do have a team, though, maximum of 5 members per team. How much time should you dedicate? Well, depending on the team size, that's really going to matter or depend. But if you had a team of 5 and you had 6 weeks to work on it, it's reasonable to think that you could easily get it over 100 hours combined, man hours that would be, into the project. But it's again really up to you as to how much effort you want to put into that. Where are you going to submit your final project? Again, don't trust the date on the screen there. We'll announce a more formal date in the future here, but you'll submit that at the award ceremony at the end of the hackathon. And I tossed this one in there myself. Those were all from the Integrant site, so I tossed this one in myself. If you do have a team, one of the problems teams have is how do we manage source code, especially if we're distributed. If I'm working with a buddy and he's at home and I'm at home. Microsoft has a great free offering of TFS, and you can get that at tfs.visualstudio.com. That's perpetually free for teams of 5 or less, so it fits in really nice with this. Now, of course, there's other source control systems. Git is another very popular one, and so certainly look at Git or GitHub or something like that. The thing I like about TFS is that it's secure, and it's more than just source control. You can do project management in it, bug tracking, build automation. I mentioned, in fact, with Azure Mobile Service, or sorry, Azure Websites and Cloud Services, you can actually have it where you automatically, upon check-in from Visual Studio, cause a build in TFS to occur and an automatic deployment over to Azure for you. It's really cool. In fact, I have a blog post on a previous version of it, but it's the same idea. That if you take my name, Brett Statham, and put a .com at the end of it there, you can find a blog post up there about doing just that. And that's really cool. So check out tfs.visualstudio.com if you need cloud-based source control. So as we move on, look for information about webinars. If there's frequent questions that are coming back in, or if I want to focus in on some other technology or something like that, we'll do a little webinar online and cover some of those topics, as well as, again, other resources available to you as you go through the duration of this. And again, Integrant will be communicating with you on a regular basis to sort of keep you in the loop on all of those things. So again, wrapping that up, hopefully, again, the hackathon is something that you really want to jump into. There's some good opportunities to learn, get a chance to go through and actually build something, and maybe even win something for it at the end there. And then hopefully what you saw from Azure is that it's a pretty broad offering in terms of this a la carte set of choices that you can use to either completely move a set of services or applications up into the cloud, or to mix and match, keep some things on premise and move other things up into the cloud where they make sense. So go start. There you go. And with that, I'll wrap it up. Again, thank you very much for your time today. Make sure to grab my email address if I can help you with anything, and go get your game on.